Linn Valley Radio, Friday night. We got a good show lined up for you. This is Freedom of Information. We're going to be covering some stuff that I think needs crystal clarity. So we're going to jump right into that. Now, I did make sure that I put a phone call into the POA. You know, I didn't want to misquote or, make anything that would, I guess, be gray area. So I'm going to pull up this email that I got because I asked it to be emailed to me. That way I could quote it with 100% accuracy on that. So right now what I have is the sewer and utility operations. The POA and the city of Linn Valley had an agreement that the POA would operate and maintain the sewer utility operations prior to the sewer system installation. After discussion between the city of Linn Valley and the POA, the ownership of the sewer trucks was returned to the POA. This was finalized as of February 8th, 2016. At the actual last city council meeting. So the POA operates the hauling of the sewer, and the city operates and maintains the sewer system lines, the lift stations, and the lagoons. The water utility operations. The city of Linn Valley owns the water utility. The POA operates and maintains the water utility operations for the city of Linn Valley. The POA receives all proceeds from the water utility. Now, as part of that, the city offers inside the gates. So there's a clear difference, folks. As soon as you go outside the gates, that's that little section of Jingo Road and that little road that goes down by City Hall. That's still the city of Linn Valley, but this portion behind the gates is private. Now, here's the significance to that. They are not allowed to spend any money or any improvements beyond the gates. That means they don't do parks like normal cities do. They don't fix potholes. They don't work on the roads. None of that money comes back in the gates. Essentially, really what you're getting is you're getting the police, you're getting fire, you're getting EMS, and you're getting maintenance on the lagoons. That's all that the city offers. The city does not work on the roads. They do not do potholes. They don't repair. All of that is the POA's responsibility because it's private from that point. The city itself is not allowed to spend any money inside the gates. So I just want to make that clear. I think so many people are confused that when you see revenue or tickets being written off of these roads, that money goes outside of the gates to the city but does not come back inside the gates. Just remember that. That is very important. So the way I see it is, okay, the POA allows them to come inside and, I'm not saying they write tickets all the time. I don't know how much revenue they write off of these roads. But the simple fact is you shouldn't be writing, in my opinion, any revenue off the roads. You're not doing anything for me. You're not giving me any road work. You're not doing anything. You're just taking money and you're putting it on the other side of the gates and you're not doing anything inside the gates with that money. So, while we're on that tip, I did launch a survey. And that survey is going to anybody that gets on social media, and I'm sure you'll see the advertisement. It's asking you to take a survey if you're, in the Linn Valley community. So, here's the way this is shaped up so far. And just to keep things in all fairness, because the last survey that I did, I got accused that, I ran a survey to the whole county that asked them what's the worst city in Linn County. Well, guess what? Linn Valley showed up number one, and I'm sorry. That pissed some people off. But that's the facts, folks. That's the facts, and if it makes you mad, getting mad at me isn't going to do anything for you. Getting mad and turning that around so we're the best city is really what you should do. But with that being said, I do want to go ahead and cover some stuff that I think it's really important for you to know. So I went ahead and ran this survey. I pulled the report at 4:30, and I've looked over all the IP addresses, I put them in order so I could see where there's duplicates. That means people that decided they were going to take the survey 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, maybe just an additional time. And I removed the additional surveys. So only one IP address could take the survey. And the only way that you could, try to cook the books, and I'll just be honest with you, is if you turn your cell phone off of your Wi-Fi and you use your cell phone IP address, which is whoever your cell phone provider, and then you use your internet provider, the most you could really get out is 2 votes. So anyways, I removed any duplicates. So here's how the stats came in. The question that I asked was, the first question, do you think that Linn Valley Police should be allowed to enter the private gates and roads of Linn Valley? And there was 4 options to answer. Yes, no, I have mixed feelings about it, because that's, there are some people that have mixed feelings about it. And then the 4th answer is only if they have an emergency call for help or are investigating something, which I think, and that's how I answered it. I answered it number 4. The second question was, do you think that Linn Valley Police should be allowed to write tickets off private roads of this community if the city of Linn Valley doesn't spend any money back into the community beyond the private gates? So essentially that question sums up is, do you think they should come in and extort money off the roads if they're not going to put any money into the roads? I mean, why should you come in here and get the right tickets and take money outside the gates? It doesn't come back in the gates. I got a problem with that. And I think once I read off these results to you, you're going to realize why Mr. Vaughn is getting so much support. It's because they all think it's BS too. So on the first question, here's how the results, and I ran this at 4:30, and I removed all IP addresses that tried to vote more than one time. So these are all single votes. There's no skew in the numbers unless somebody, like I said, went to their cell phone or whatever. So of that, 14 people said that yes, the police should be allowed to come in. 15 people said only if they have an emergency or investigating something. 4 people flat out said no. And 2 people said they had mixed feelings about it. And then my second question, and I'll just rephrase this for you again. Do you think that Linn Valley Police should be allowed to write tickets off of private roads of this community if the city of Linn Valley does not spend any money back into the community beyond the private gates? That means the only way they could spend the money is to pay officers, give raises, redo the blacktop on that little spot of Jingo, which I think they got maybe a mile, and then that little road that goes down to City Hall, and maybe in some other, I don't know, maybe I'm missing something. Work on the lagoon, I don't know. But here's the answers. So 15 people said yes. 2 people said they had mixed feelings about it. 10 people said no. 2 people said they only should be able to give warnings. 7 people said they shouldn't be allowed to unless it's an emergency call. I would mean that would mean if somebody's being reckless or ran some people over, or maybe an idiot drunk driver that needed to be cited. And then they shouldn't be allowed unless there's an emergency. Hang on. So all right, so that's the numbers. It was 7 that shouldn't be allowed to unless an emergency call. 2 people said they should only be able to give warnings. 10 people said no. 2 people said they had mixed feelings, and 15 people said yes. If you notice in a nutshell, the 2 similarities there is about 35% of the people are saying that they should have the cops come in and yes, and the other 65% are either saying unless you got a reason or flat out no, or I have mixed feelings about it, or you should just write a warning. That's like 65 versus 35. That right there is reality of what I've been talking about the entire time. And there's nothing skewed about it. That's real. Most people don't want the cops in here. POA, are you listening? City of Linn Valley, are you listening to the people? This is a real survey, and I took out any skew in it. So that means that any alterations or any cheating, I removed as best as I could possibly remove it, okay? That's hardcore facts. That should hit everybody in the face. This is what I've been talking about. This is why I'm taking action, is they don't think that you should be in here. Get out. Get out of the gates. We don't want you here as a majority people. Now, this is early results still, so this could change, but I don't think it's going to change that much. I've done surveys, plenty of them, and typically when you take the pulse pretty early like this, I've seen it change a little bit when it continues to go, but it's rare that the results change. More people can take this survey, but the numbers will pretty much show to be the same. So, think about it. I mean, that is huge. Most people do not want you in here. Police, they don't want you here. I mean, how do you feel about that? They don't want you here as a majority. And that's reality, folks. And POA, you should take recognition of this. And if you want proof from me, I need to block out these people's IP addresses because I don't feel like that they should have their information shared. But I got the IP address of everybody that took this survey. I'm not going to look you up. Don't worry. And I won't share your information. But I have the report right here in front of me, and I'll be more than happy to block out half of their IP address so you can't see who they are. But you need to take recognition to this because these folks that operate in here don't want those folks. And this ad that's running around is paid for by Linn Valley Radio, and it's only going to the community. I set the parameters up that it's going to them. That's a hardcore facts, folks. So, anyways, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up segment 1 right here. I just wanted to cover these bases. And by the way, hang on, let me back up a second. On the stop sign deal, all you guys are trying to act like that, you know, I want it to be like Mad Max and the Thunderdome in here. The stop signs are fake. My point is you shouldn't be able to come in and write people tickets on fake stop signs. They're not R1 regulatory stop signs, which is regulated by the state of Kansas. They're not 6 feet away from the road. They're not 5 feet to 8 feet in height. I mean, it's laughable. And you're sitting here writing people speeding tickets and rolling stop sign tickets, and you're taking advantage of people. In a nutshell, how I look at that is theft. You're writing bogus tickets. You know they're bogus. You've been hiding it from the people. And now all of a sudden I'm coming out and telling everybody it's BS. And this got to come to a stop. Those stop signs were put in. Now I don't have confirmation on this, but I can pretty much say with certainty the POA paid for those stop signs. And I got no problem stopping at the stop sign. And I got no problem following the speed limit because I know that that's to create order for the POA. But for the police to write tickets and extort money off of those signs, fight them in court, folks. You'll win every single time. They are not R1 regulatory stop signs. They're not 6 feet away from the side of the road. They're not 5 feet in height. They're not the right size. They're bogus, fake stop signs. Seriously. So, you know, I'm not trying to tell everybody go speed as you want and go and blast past stop signs. That's not my point. My point is go fight them in court. Don't give them money on that. And yes, I understand the POA wants order within the gates. We don't want people driving crazy fast down the road. I get all that. I have not endorsed for anybody to go out and be reckless amongst people. So let's get real here. Anyways, my name is Collin Vaughn. This is LinnValleyRadio.com. This show is called Freedom of Information. Thanks for listening. And segment 2 coming up be, I don't know, probably 15 minutes. Stay tuned.